Is this you trying to play the Death Trap build? Or perhaps you're getting anxious just looking at all the requirements to get the best rogue build of the season online? No worries, because in this video, we're not only going to focus on how you can turn the build into a one-button playstyle and save yourself from having to cut off your carpal tunnel arms, but we're also going to cover how you, with ease, can get the Death Trap build online, regardless if you're a casual, disgusting dad gamer or you've been swiping the living shit out of your credit card to become the best rogue gamer imaginable. And to help us with this, I have of course consulted the help of one of the best creators out there, Ava, as he's much better than me at the game. Hell, I mainly just make farts. In any way, let's get started with the basics that you need to know to make intelligent decisions further down the line and start clearing pit 100s in no time. And for the ultra basics, this is Death Trap. It's an ultimate skill, meaning you'll have time to grow a fucking palm tree just waiting for the cooldown to drop. To solve this, we grabbed cooldown reduction obviously, but now we're also able to utilize preparation. Every 75 energy you spend, you in turn reduce its cooldown by 5 seconds, meaning if you have a cooldown of 10 seconds, you'll need to spend 150 energy to reduce it. 15-second cooldown, 225. This is important. Now, Death Trap doesn't spend energy, but Beastfall Boots does. All we need to do is cast a core skill, and it will in turn spend all of our energy. And introduced in Season 8, we have this lovely piece, Scoundrel's Leather. This bad boy turns all of our trap skills into core skills, meaning we can use Death Trap itself to reduce its own cooldown via Beastfall Boots. And not only that, we're also able to grab a shit ton of core skill ranks everywhere to boost our damage, and also get the humongous damage bonus from the Beastfall Boots. Lovely, huh? Damn right. Once you've got the cooldown and maximum energy at a point where you're able to spam Death Trap, then you've got yourself a build. And as you will see, there are a few ways in which we can cheat to make this easier. And when this is done, we can start looking at how we can scale our damage. The main way we do it this season is via overpowering, because just in case you've been snoozing under a rock, overpower is completely broken, scaling via overpower itself, doubling its damage via fortify, and then gaining disgusting amounts of damage via max life. And to overpower, there are 2 options. First, we have the Banished Lord's Talisman. Every 275 energy you spend, you overpower. And once you've got a Shaco and your Masterworks down, then you're able to overpower each cast with some help from your key passive and, if necessary, an elixir. The other option is using the Xan rune. This will not allow you to overpower each cast, but often enough to get huge value from it, and it will also allow you to use a regular amulet and in turn make it easier to gear. Alright, and now onto the skills. We don't want to spam, as we don't want carpal tunnel and arthritis. You probably already have them, you old fuck, but may as well not make them worse. Due to this, we have Concealment only for Unstoppable. This is usually used for critting and applying Vulnerable, but we do that elsewhere. Smoke Grenade, Poison Trap, and Caltrops are only used 5 or so seconds, and when speed running, you don't even need to use them. Instead, you have Dash for mobility and turning you into a speed demon. And that, my friends, are the basics. Let's have a quick word from today's sponsor now, my ass, but also the Crimson Market. This is the easiest place to trade items this season by far. But perhaps more importantly, they are having massive giveaways each month where you can join for free using my link and the golden ticket. You'll have greater chance to win the longer you stay in the club, but you're also free to leave whenever you want and not pay a dime. It's also the only way to get your hands on these exclusive PCs, so make sure to check it out. Okay, my friends, let's see what's going on in the gearing section. We have the Uber version and the non-Uber version. And with the Uber version, I'm talking about having access to 275 energy to overpower each cast. If you can't get this, then you go for the non-Uber version and start working towards the Uber version, adding in items as you go. For the Uber version, you need Shaco. This is for the maximum energy, but you're also gaining a large cooldown reduction boost along with max life and skill ranks for damage. Don't have it? Go for Cowl of the Nameless or Heir of Perdition. Just be aware that you'll need cooldown reduction on most of your jewelry then. You'll have a cooldown reduction calculator here. Next is Scoundrel's Leathers. You need this to make the build work, and you should prioritize getting a high roll on the aspect. For the gloves, slap on the Trickster aspect to turn your Death Trap into a grenade skill as well, allowing you to benefit from yet another damage tag. Also important that you get crowd control duration here or somewhere else, as you'll utilize this for your boss powers. Other than that, max life and getting 53% crit chance is what you're looking for. For the Pantaloonies, Eyes in the Dark is one hell of Pantaloony. Focus on getting a GA Aftermath, as this will be your main way of regaining energy after you've spent it in combination with the Beastfall boots. If you don't regain enough energy, then you want more ranks here. When it comes to the sneakers, you need to get a Beastfall boots with a GA on the max energy. Otherwise, you'll have to use an elixir or get energy elsewhere and lose some damage. Other than that, the aspect is your main priority after this. For your weapons, you want as much max life as possible and get your death trap damage to 100%. But also, and this is important, if you can't get the Uber version online, then you may want to consider tempering close damage everywhere rather than overpower damage. This is because you may as well utilize close quarters combat rather than momentum then, as we're mainly using momentum to get that 275 energy solved, which you don't need for the starter version as you're not going to use Banished Lord's Talisman. For the aspects though, Apogeic Furor and more grenade damage is the name of the game, along with a Coombringer for the doubling of our life, and in turn, overpower damage. Next, we have our Banished Lords. You should be able to get at least a single GA, in which case I'd go for max life here. And finally, the rings. Starless is great, but can indeed be ditched for a regular ring if you need more cooldown reduction, as this is where we can temper Death Trap cooldown reduction. But it's a great ring for the damage and hitting our attack speed breakpoints. Great job, friends. Gear and aspects complete. Next, we have some details we need to cover, namely the runes, mercs, and all the other bullshit. For the runes, we first have the Neo and Exile combo for max life, and the Zan and Thal combo to apply Vulnerable and Freeze. Neo works as we're always having a massive shield up. This shield in turn also means that we're completely immortal, meaning you don't have to give a shit about capping resistances or your armor in the endgame. For the non-Banished Lords version, you instead want to swap out for the Overpower rune and solve overpowers that way. When it comes to the powers, we first have the Beast in the Ice power to apply more freeze, allowing us to dip into several multipliers along with Harbinger and Cinnarat's Flames. Due to this one, you want to prio resistances over armor, as it also provides damage. And finally, Flesh Reapers, which will grant you damage once you've tempered a crowd control duration on one of your items. And finally, the Mercenary is rather important, as we will double our damage simply grabbing Rahir, as he grants us Fortify, which in turns grants us a buttload of overpower damage. We then finish it off with Variana, as she's the only non-useless one, and at least grants us some attack speed. Well shit, know what time it is? Correct, it's skill tree of fucking clock, and you know it, baby. Basic skills? Hell nah, not since Season 5. Core skills? Hell nah, not since Season 2. Agility skills though? Hell yes. Caltrops for damage, dash for mobility and knockdown, and of course all of these insanely strong damage passives. Next, we grab Concealment for unstoppable, Smoke Grenade for the damage bonus, as well as applying Dave for trick attacks and Poison for a few passives down the line. Poison Trap for additional damage and some passives. Next, we head on over to the imbuements, which suck ass, but this is where we instead find a bunch of strong damage passives and attack speed. In the ultimate tree, we find our main skill along with yet some additional damage multipliers and second wind, which is how we stay alive, by generating a buttload of barrier. And finally, the key, passive. In this version, we use momentum as it also provides us with 30% energy, allowing us to reach the 275 to overpower each death trap. For the non-Uber version, we instead use close quarters, stack close damage, and make sure to use a cutthroat skill, which dash or shadow step is, and then a marksman's skill to trigger close quarters combat. Alright, so that's the skill tree. All there is left is the Paragon tree, and then I'll teach you how to get good and play the build. Spoilers, it's rather easy. Heading into Paragon territory, we have some good stuff going on. In the first board, we start off with Headhunter for Big Dam, and we then go for Deadly Ambush for the same reason. Here we also find some crit chance, helping us solve the 100% crit no problemo. You also have Trap cooldown reduction here if you have issues getting your death trap spammable. Next, we have no witnesses. You'll cap this node via ultimate damage on your pantaloonies, so don't worry about that. We simply socket Canny for the damage and get the hell out of here. All the way to Cheap Shot, where we'll socket Explosive as it not only has the biggest multiplicative multiplier out there, but also a large bulk of additive damage. After that, it's time to go back all the way over to Exploit Weakness, where you'll get the Versatility Glyph for a large damage multiplier. And with that, we're almost done. But left is to get hecking good. And you know it, baby. The core of the build is to make it as simple as possible. That means for most content, all you need to do is press your death trap and you're done. You then have dash for mobility, and if you're playing the non-Uber version, also for using a cutthroat skill. The rest of the skills you use whenever shit just won't die. Perhaps on bosses, perhaps on elites, depending on how high of a difficulty you're running. You, however, don't want to spend important time pressing these things when you don't have to. The Smoke Grenade damage buff is up for 5 seconds, Caltrops for 7, and Poison Trap for 9. So using these skills about every 5 seconds should be good, allowing you to keep them up. Other than that, you also need to spam out some health potions for unstable elixirs. You'll do this roughly once every 10 seconds. And finally, you're gaining additional damage after you've evaded or dazed an enemy. This you generally won't have to worry about though, as you'll mainly only evade when traveling, and dazing you do when you throw out smoke grenades. With that, we're done. Big shout out to Ava, to Crimson Market for their giveaways, and to myself for reasons. See you in the next one, friends.